Hello, hi. Welcome back to the third episode of Voice Talking, where we give you market insights, highlight market trends, and talk about your career. My name is Ameer Junejo. I'll be your host, and with me today we have Zaim Hassan, our lead gen expert at Forest Interactive. Hi, Zaim. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great, Ameer. How about you?
All well, all well. So, do you want to start with your introduction first?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Zaim, of course. I am the team lead of the lead generation division in Forest Interactive, the close knit group of lead generators that help produce leads and do the lead mining for Forest Interactive and the regional offices.
All right, interesting. So, what kind of lead gen do you do at Forest Interactive?
Well, I would say that in our specific environment, lead gen is more of a support role to assist in the marketing, the product teams, as well as the sales teams to achieve their conversions of converting deals. In Forest itself, my team specifically does a lot of lead mining and generating leads in the mobile operator space. So we look for mobile operators, OTTs, apps, affiliates, and all those in order to sell our products and services to them.
Interesting. So we're talking about like post-pandemic area, right? So in a sense that how has lead generation emerged as an important field in today's time?
Yeah, that's a good question. Lead generation is not something you hear that often. It's not the most exciting subject to in the mainstream space. But traditionally, lead gen was part of the salesperson's scope in terms of finding the leads that the salesperson would have to find on their own. As we gone into the contemporary modern times, I think lead gen has become distinct in its own sphere, separate from sales, where now lead gen is focused on the pre-sales and front line, basically, to help qualify, find the leads, make sure the lead is suitable and worth it to pursue before converting it into meeting setup and then passing it over to the sales team to do the actual conversion. So in the modern day, this distinction has led to a rise of a bunch of tools, technology, and strategies that are used all over the world. No matter which country you go to, no matter what business you're in, lead generation plays a crucial part of the sales cycle.
Okay, so it's not just B2B, it's B2C as well?
Correct.
Can you say that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not just B2B, which is business to business or
Yeah.
business to consumer. It can also be for not-for-profits, NGOs who use lead generation strategies to find donors and sponsors like that.
Is it safe to say that lead generation is also can be business development?
Yeah. Business development is the modern term, I guess, for sales in a way that encompasses more than just the traditional sales role.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so your time at being working with lead generation, right? So what are some of the highlights that you can share with us?
Yeah. It's definitely been a very enlightening time in lead gen, especially with the whole challenges that we face in terms of the world, external factors, internal changes in the company, and all that. I'd say the two biggest things I've learned is number one is lead nurturing. A lot of people assume that lead generation ends when the client or the lead says yes or no, and that their job is done.
Yeah.
But there is a huge chunk of lead generation called lead nurturing, which is building a relationship with leads to generate the demand for your product or services. So even if they say no now, there is a chance they will say yes in the future. And that yes might be just the deal that will change everything for your company. So that's one of it, lead nurturing. The second aspect is qualifying leads or shifting away from the mindset of quantity into quality, making sure that the leads that you are generating and using are beneficial and productive for the team, which we have a variety of strategies like lead scoring and all that.
Interesting. So basically, the calls that I get from people, those are the people who are trying to make me a lead.
Correct. You are a lead.
Interesting.
I don't know how you take that, but yeah, that's how it is.
Okay, interesting. All right. So you spoke about lead generation, right? And you spoke about nurturing as well. So what is? I've also been hearing this term called lead mining, right? So what's the difference between lead mining and lead nurturing?
Okay. Well, as I said, lead nurturing is building the relationship. It can take a few months to a year to build the demand until the lead is ready to purchase or subscribe. Lead mining is the front end or the beginning of the cycle where the team or the lead generator will get a bunch of leads, mine those leads, and then do the necessary due dil to ensure that the data and the contact details are accurate and worth pursuing in the end. Lead mining usually is the beginning of the process, but takes into account more things than just lead mining.
Okay.
For example, lead scoring, which is qualifying the lead. So once they've received or generated the leads, they need to assess whether or not this lead is worth pursuing or spending time with, which is where lead scoring comes in.
Okay, so if you have to give a weightage, I'm presuming this is just being so it's clear for audience as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what weight would you give lead nurturing and what weight would you give lead mining? Are they both equally important or one of the other?
Yeah, good question. I think it depends on the situation of the company and what the company needs at that time. Ideally, like I said, lead mining is the front end of the process. So if you do a really good job lead mining, finding the quality leads and converting those leads, there's a less need for a lead nurturing later down the road, because you're already getting the goals and what you want, what you're searching for in the beginning, right? However, I'd say that so in those situations, lead mining would be more important. But to me, at least in my experience, lead nurturing is still a key part of the process, regardless of how well you do in the first half of the process, because there are still many potential deals that could be made, and we don't know if those deals are the ones that will make it or break it for the company.
Interesting. So how do you nurture a lead?
Good question. That's something I've learned also this my time in Forest with lead gen. The thing with nurturing is it requires constant connection with the leads, which of course requires organization, tracking, and all that, especially when you have more than 100 leads at a time, right?
Yeah.
So usually, at least I'll give an example. In my team, we have to work together with the other departments in our company, like corporate PR, the messaging team, the marketing team, product marketing, to ensure that we get the right data and information that can help us sell the product. So you can think of lead nurturing as a way as slowly pitching a product over a long period of time until the client or the lead finds out or figures out that realizes that the product is something that they need.
They need it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it can be in the form of like media campaigns, ads, press releases, newsletters, basically just to keep them in the know. That hey, we still exist. This product is still here, and you might need it at some point.
That's interesting, right? Because with so much influx of social media and everything, right? And you're getting so many calls every day. You need to make sure that you stand out.
Correct.
Amongst all the other lead generators, if I must say.
Yeah, it's a lot of us out there.
Okay. So how important is, or if I again have to bring it up, right? So quality versus quantity, because I'm presuming if you have a lot to work with, that's going to aid to your benefit. But if in your terms, like, what's the difference? Like, is it better quality versus quantity? What's the aftermath of that?
Yeah, that's something I think that's been discussed in lead gen for a long time. I think traditionally lead gen focused more on the quantity, getting as big of a reach as possible by throwing a wide net. Of course, this does not always guarantee good results. It usually has a conversion rate that's like in the single-digit percentages in terms of quantity when you just reach out to open. That's why lead gen has shifted more into the quality sphere and tried to focus more on making sure the leads are qualified, which is what I mentioned earlier. One of the strategies we use in terms of making sure a lead is qualified is lead scoring, which is basically just evaluating a lead using a set of criteria that you set.
Is it like a checklist or is it an SOP?
It can be. Yeah, it depends on the person. That's what makes lead scoring or the idea or the exercise of it kind of interesting. Is because it can be different depending on the company.
So it's a holistic approach depending on how it is.
Basically, it's what you believe the company needs at this time. So if as a lead generator, when you go into your team or in your company, you can start looking at what the company needs, setting it as a checklist in your process in the lead scoring, and then assigning a type of score. The most common one people use is 5 points. Out of 5, when they hit the threshold, what's the point? And depending on what the final score is, it will allow the team to understand which kind of approach, what kind of lead, what is the interest level, competitors, all that stuff.
Can you mention a few of the checklist, like on top of your head?
Like, for example, market size, what markets they reach, company size, how big is their company, especially in products that require a lot of users. We need to know how big they are, their budget. Are they already using tools that our competitors are offering, and how can we defeat those? Basically stuff like that.
Like road mapping everything, road mapping your consumers.
Then we can categorize them and then design different approaches to hit what they need.
Like first tier, second tier, middle tier, third tier.
I mean, that's one way also.
Interesting. Okay. So as you know, modern times, and after the entire world has become digitalized and all of that,
Yeah.
right? So how has modern time changed lead generation?
Well, first, I think I have to set some context.
Mhm.
I'm not that old, so
Really?
I can't speak
Okay.
to the entirety of lead generation
Okay. All
history.
right.
But for what I can see, especially now as I'm in this lead
Mhm.
generation sphere,
Mhm.
I think the biggest or exciting part of lead generation is the multitude of diverse range of tools
Mhm.
that come out for different aspects of lead gen process lah. There are of course tools that are offering a one-stop shop that
Mhm.
can do everything in lead gen, but we also see a lot of niche or specific tools that deal with lead mining or
Mhm.
deal with the lead nurturing side or deal
Okay.
with the messaging. So we see this evolution and exciting competitiveness of new tools coming in, new
Mhm.
softwares coming in that can expedite and automate the process lah. That's the exciting part, as well as the various strategies using these tools
Mhm.
and using other technology, reaching out through other forms of media, SMS, instant messaging, online forums like Reddit, ads.
Reddit as well.
Yeah, of
Oh
course.
wow.
There's
Okay.
lots of people on Reddit generating leads, reaching out to strangers basically to find a potential target audience.
So you find them wherever they go.
Yeah, well, I won't say if I use Reddit or not, but that is one option for a lot of people that they use.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. So in all this process, does money matter?
I guess it would depend on how you're using the money.
Okay.
And I would say that is one of the challenges of lead generation is minimizing the cost, or I guess cost optimization lah.
Okay. Okay.
And it can be argued to some, in most cases, that the more money you invest in, the
Mhm.
higher the results will yield.
Mhm.
But of course, other factors come into play that are not related to money, like skill,
Yeah.
the resources that are available, what kind of technology you're using.
Mhm.
But essentially, I think it works in a lot of places. Money does help.
As with all social media platforms.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So how is your? Thank you for giving us a proper information on that. So coming back, so how is your day-to-day job? Like, what do you do when you come to office, and how does it start?
Okay. Well, sorry to break it to you, it's not as exciting as you might think.
Sounds exciting.
There's not a lot of secret agent lead generators out there, you know. There's no Wolf of Lead Generators movie out there that we would like to watch. But as a team lead, I guess we can explain it in two different aspects because as a team lead, it's a bit different than the actual lead generators who are doing the lead gen.
Mhm.
But as a team lead, for me, I'm more of the overviewing, watching the strategy, making sure the strategy is being followed and
Mhm.
standardized,
Mhm.
dealing with any obstacles or hurdles that we come along the way, dealing with the stakeholders, specifically our sales team who are expecting these leads, and of course, the corporate team, as well as optimization, finding the gaps and trying to make the process as streamlined as possible. But in terms of the lead generators, which is like my team members, they actively are reaching out to leads every day,
Mhm.
lead mining every day, working closely with the product team to understand how they can sell this product, and
Mhm.
working closely with the sales team to understand who they should be selling it to.
Oh wow. Okay.
Together, all this collaboration, and then eventually they will go out and pitch, either through calls or emails and all that. At the same time, they're also managing the CRM,
Okay.
which is the customer relationship management platform,
Mhm.
which we use to maintain our database of all the leads and such like that lah. So
Okay.
lead gen manages that, which is also used by the other teams, as well as addressing. I guess the other big thing that we manage also is events.
Events.
Yeah, for example, Forrest recently went to MWC, I believe it's Mobile World Congress,
Yes.
and Telemedia in Barcelona, Spain, over there. So the lead gen team will also assist the sales team who actually attend the event. The lead gen will help them to organize the meetings, find out what are the potential leads there, the attendees,
Mhm.
source them and qualify them immediately, so that the sales team has a better and more efficient way to approach
Streamlining the
leads.
process.
Exactly. Don't waste too much time doing the research for the sales.
Mhm.
Lead gen will do it, and then once they're there, they can just quickly sell the product as fast as possible.
They're giving you the ammo to shoot, basically.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Or who to shoot at.
Or
I
who to
guess.
shoot? Yeah.
I guess maybe that's not the best way to put it.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah.
Okay. Okay. So all of this, right? I'm understanding that lead gen is like they're working with so many different departments and they're working on so many things simultaneously and parallelly, right?
Mhm.
So what are the challenges that you and your team face, like generally?
Yeah, I think the challenges faced by a lead generation team really depends on the situation it's in and the situation the company is in, as well as what the company wants at this time. In my experience with Forest right now, because we have such a solid team and a strong foundation, all our processes have already been set and structured, thanks to previous people in this job. Um, the challenges we face is mostly dealing with how to optimize the process, a process that is already heavily optimized, but we always want to have a CI mindset or continuous improvement
Okay.
to always improve it. So I think that's the biggest challenge that we face, as well as dealing with the external factors of lead generation. You can't always convert all the time, right? You don't expect to convert. You don't have to. You don't expect to have a great time all the time you're doing it, for a myriad of reasons, whether it's the economy, the situation in
Or just
the
people,
company,
or just people generally.
or maybe we're in a period where we're shifting the company strategy, for example,
Yeah.
which will require a lot of maneuvering and adaptability from the team to adjust. So those are the kind of challenges you face most commonly. But of course, there are a lot of other crazy challenges that you have to go case by case.
Interesting, interesting. I also keep hearing another term when it comes to lead generation, inbound and outbound. Do you want to expand on that? What's inbound or outbound? Yeah.
Generally, I think most, especially in the ad space, people in the ad space would know this. Inbound and outbound is just a way to categorize the type of lead and where it comes from or how it's obtained. So naming it's pretty self-explanatory in the name itself. Outbound leads are those leads that we approach, are out there, and we go and find them using a variety of tools like lead mining, like lead generation through database scraping online and all that. And we will approach them using email marketing tools, automation, all that to approach them wherever they are out there. In terms of inbound, it's the opposite, where it's leads that are coming into us. We are not actively looking for them. They're coming to us, whether it's through a web form on our website, landing pages, media campaigns, ads, events. Maybe they met us at an event or saw our name and they submitted their contact forms through a CTA button or something like that. So that's dealing with inbound. And usually inbound is tied with cost.
Okay.
Especially when dealing with ads, for example, an ad campaign.
Yeah.
So like I said earlier, the higher the cost, usually will have yield higher returns. Whereas outbound, it's not so much with cost and more on how you approach, the strategy you go, and how well you do at pitching to the clients as well.
Okay, interesting. Okay, I think we are coming close to our ending.
Okay.
So before we leave, do you have any advice for people? Oh, sorry, I have one more question, right? Before we move to our ending. So what skills should one acquire when they want to get into lead gen? Yeah, I think this is important, and after that we can just close it. Yeah.
Yeah, skills, eh? Well, for me, what I can see at least, lead gen, of course, like I said earlier, it's not the sexiest role in sales and such like that. For me, lead gen is a crucial stepping stone in anyone's career in sales or in messaging, marketing, all that kind of sphere of business. To really do well in lead gen, I think you need to have a good mindset and positive enthusiasm all the time. Even when you don't feel it, you'll sometimes need to force that positivity because your emotions and your vibe can translate into your work when you approach that. So I think that's the key one, is always to keep positive. Having a thick skin, being able to differentiate between business and personal, because you're gonna deal with a lot of rejections every day. It's gonna be painful. But after a time of dealing with all these rejections, you're gonna really do well in any rejections, even in real life.
You become thick-skinned, right?
Yeah, even in personal relationships, you're gonna be like, this is nothing, man. This rejection is nothing. 'Cause I deal with 100 of them per day.
Okay.
So you have to deal with those kind of rejections and then developing a sense of self-awareness, not just for you to improve on your approach and understanding what you lack, what your gaps are, but also to portray yourself. And the self-awareness is to picture and portray yourself in a good light when you are pitching and representing the company as a lead generator.
Okay, and that's the advice that you would give to everyone who wants to join.
I would say, yeah, because lead generation, like I said, is a stepping stone for your career path. You can go into sales, which is the most logical for a lot of people, and you make a lot more money in sales. Or you can go into messaging, communications, mass comm, where your work with messaging, your language and speech plays into a part there. I would say when you're in lead gen, you have to be proactive. absorb as much as you can, learn as much as you can, you're going to be connecting with hundreds of people all over the world,
Yeah.
and you'll be developing relationships you never expected. So that's the advantage that you have as a lead gen, which you should take if you're a part of that sphere.
Interesting, interesting. All right, Zaim, thank you for this. I think we are coming to an end as well. Thank you for tuning in. If you want to message Zaim or follow him, he has a LinkedIn as well, Zaim Hassan, right?
Yeah.
Yep. And I will see you next time. Take care.